This program was produced by and first broadcast on Radio Hawke's Bay, your community access media station. Thanks to New Zealand On Air for making this type of programming possible.
Hi, Gail here. Welcome to Radio Hawke's Bay. We are in June now, 2024, and coming out of the shadows a little bit. So March, April, May, big months, we're into June. You may have noticed, and hopefully you have, that in the last week or so, or couple of weeks, that the energy's gotten a little bit lighter, as in within yourself. Whatever you've been through, whatever changes have happened to you in your life, whatever transformations you've been going through, these are starting to lift, leave, resolve, and it's a little bit like we're in winter here, but it's a little bit like maybe spring is a feeling of possibility, perhaps just seeping in. And if it still hasn't for you, then it will. It is the nature of the way that the year is flowing. It's like the seasons. We've had a season where it's been a bit stormy, a little bit of the unexpected, changing situations, whether they're in your work, in your relationships, in your health, in your family, in your money, in finances. All of these areas have been changing, shifting, moving, remodeling for better. So if you're feeling very, very pressured about your finances at present, then just know that there are possibilities, opportunities right in front of you and starting to show themselves in your life a little bit more now with what you can do, with what maybe are other avenues of revenue that you can start looking at. And if you have been thinking at all in the last few years about doing something from home, doing your own business, using your own skills, then there's no waiting. If you've gone through changes in the last few months, it's because you need to get moving on this. And you'll possibly feel a little bit more motivation around it anyway. It's just something that naturally occurs with us. If you're thinking of kind of like, putting it off, I'd just say play with the idea of just starting a little bit of something. You don't have to do a lot. It's not that you just have to go, okay, I'm going to do something and I'm just going to keep going with that. It's possible that you will, and it would be great if you did. But even just deciding to start at this point is all that's necessary. There's something about, like people around you supporting you and encouraging you, and there'll be more of that. There'll be more of a vibe around what you're looking to do, or more of a niche that opens up with something that you're looking to do. So just consider being a little bit more open about what are those possibilities for you in your life. Your life is not just about working, in the job that you're in. That's giving you skills. It's not the be-all and end-all. We have a lot of different aspects to us, and in this time frame of our lives and coming forward, you have to give what you've got. You've got to share what you have. You've got to share what you know. You've got to contribute something of you to the world at the moment. Very, very necessary. Very, very necessary. If you look say from where I am in my generation and looking down through the generations, there are a lot of holes, there's a lot of gaps, there are a lot of things missing that are very intrinsic in having well-being or a feeling of happiness in your life. And if you are of the older age set, please think about sharing what you know, what you've learned, how you lived, how it can be easier to manage finances, life, even approach, perspective, all that kind of stuff can be added and given that can help other generations coming up to manage, to not see disaster in everything that happens, to see opportunities, but solutions, to provide solutions. There are solutions for everything. There really are solutions for everything. You may not be able to fix the actual situation, but the solutions are what you do in managing that situation and solving any problem along the way. So I wasn't very clear about that, and I've had cards falling out because I've been sorting them as I've been talking to you today. I had plenty of time. I had a whole hour, actually, almost, before I came into the radio, and I did not sort my cards. I thought that may give me some sort of idea then that this month could be to do with finishing off the sorting that started probably March, April. There seems to be, and this flicked over all on its own, seems to be things around unfairness, needing some sort of balance and resolution. Yes. So anything in your life that has happened to you that was unfairly done to you, or a decision that was against you, that didn't work out in your favour, it says that this month is an opportunity to regain balance. So this can be by your own actions. This is the year where you take action. Remember, this is the year that whatever action you take toward a goal or solving a problem or making something happen has more possibilities of succeeding this year than any other year. So, at least for a few years. So, because we are June, I do select cards for the month, and they seem to have selected themselves. We have we have 6 cards here. So we will look at what they say. Firstly, it is about, even if this month you cannot resolve things, that things still are out of balance in your life, where mediation perhaps hasn't been able to bring out a fair resolution, or where someone is still kind of like saying you've done something that you haven't done. Just trying to think of all these things, any legal things that are not finished or resolved. There are opportunities in June for these to be resolved, but if they are not to worry, but to do whatever you can to address all of those little pauses where nothing's happening. So ring up, find out, follow up with any proceedings that are going on around a subject that's of interest to you, or that you have some part to play in it, and that you need to stand up for yourself and say, that is not okay. That is not how it was. This is what happened. All that kind of stuff. And sorry about not being able to say that quite as clearly as I would like to. So June, June. It's interesting. It's our winter. It's our first winter month, and yet I feel energetically that it is more of a spring energy. I said it just before, I'm going to say it again because I'm just feeling it again. So spring means that there is hope. Spring means that there are things that are new. There's a newness to the energy. So there's seeds that can be planted. There is actual progress that you can see in different areas of your life just starting to happen. And I think about myself this year for the last, at least the last 3 years, when we were coming to the end of summer, I thought of winter and I did a little bit of about going into winter, as in, it's cold, it's kind of long and dark and all that kind of stuff. And yet this year, before anything changed in my life, it probably would have been about January, I felt, maybe it was November last year. Okay. But anyway, I just felt that this winter, now, I just felt a really good feeling about this winter now. And if you knew what everything had been going on in my life, you would wonder why I would feel that way. And I wonder why I feel that way, but I feel that way, which just means that everything is coming together. Everything has some possibilities, opportunities. There are good things coming. There are positive things that are going to happen. And that's the energy vibe around all of you. It's not just around one person. It means it's positive. Yes, it's positive, and it's positive for you. It means things can work out really well. You can be successful. What do you want to do? What are you going to do? This winter's not the winter for us here to stop doing things and go into hibernation. No hibernation. No hibernation. Get busy. It's really, it's really powerful if you get busy. So I'm saying that, and the giggle was because I'm laughing at myself and thinking, yeah, that means I've got to get busy too. Okie doke. Right, let's look at the cards for June that fell out all on their own. So you have been, in a lot of ways, for years, possibly maybe 3, at least, yes, maybe the last 3 years, you have been going through a transformative experience. So personally, you have gone through experiences that have tested you, that have shown you what you're made of, what you're good at. They have challenged you to kind of like face realities in your life, face situations, look at them clearly. You've been going through an alchemic process, and we associate that always with the caterpillar that goes into the chrysalis. So inside the chrysalis, which is inside these last 3 years, a very complex, magical process has been going on with you internally as a person, externally in your lives with all the situations and everything else going on. It has been often slow, as if nothing's really happening as far as going forward in your life and making progress. You've been doing life and life's been happening, and you've been reevaluating in a lot of ways who you are and all that type of thing as well. And even maybe reminiscing a little bit on what your life has been like, what you did in your previous life. But this whole period of time has not been about putting things together or being able to put things together in the way that you thought you probably should. Maybe you've had high expectations of yourself and those haven't been able to be carried out. You've been doing an awful lot of internal work and external work on getting yourself to this point right now. And a lot of it is about you personally. A lot of it this year is about you claiming your life in a way where you are part of it, that you actually have a true part in it. Yes, you could be mother, father, you could be a role in your job. You're many things to many people. But the last 3 years has been encouraging you, moulding you, shaping you to count yourself in, to know that you are also a person that you need to give to, that you need to pay attention to, that you need to spend a bit of time learning about. And now, this year, and particularly from now on, you can start to express, show you in different ways. And it doesn't have to be a big way. It doesn't have to be a world stage kind of way. It can just simply be that you become a key figure in your family, that you guide, you direct, you give advice, you encourage, you support. And I know you're already doing those things. This is more about, hey, did you know that I was good at this? Do you know that I know about all of this? There is a place for history, I've been told, that history must come forward, and it must come forward with those that know the history, that have lived the history. So, sharing it, in what way would you like to share that? You could, if you are in your older years, you could write your life story. It's been amazing. You might not think so, but it will sound absolutely amazing to anybody else. Write down your life. Write down your triumphs, your struggles, your views on the world, your interactions in different roles in your life. You know, what were you part of? And you know, we wait for funerals sometimes. Well, we don't wait for funerals. That's not correct. It's simply that it is not until somebody passes, a lot of the time, that you actually find out about what they did in their life. And this can be somebody that's close to you, that you had absolutely no idea that they had been part of something, that they had done kind of like anything that was exciting or different or memorable. And it comes out at funerals, and you know what I'm talking about if you've been to a few. It shows you more of the person that you didn't get to know in life. So share who you are, share that history. That history must stay alive. I have this very strong feeling about the fact that our history of our lives over the last few generations must stay alive. And it is really, how can I say this? It's so important that it not get lost. We have generations that have no navigation. They have different navigation, but they have no sound navigation techniques necessarily for navigating ordinary situations in the world. Okay, so let's just talk. I'll go, right, so budgeting. There are ways this information gets spread. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. All these life hacks and everything else, they're all out there on YouTube. If you're older, you know these life hacks, but you know them, and you know the bits that are missing that are being put on YouTube. There's always more in information, and the essence of information gets glossed over a lot in a lot of things that I see. And that's okay, yeah, it works. But if you don't have the why and how it works, or the if you do this consequence or that consequence to it, then you have to kind of like find out by making mistakes. And that's not necessary. I had this thing where it was like, oh my God, it's like we've got to relearn how to do something from scratch because we don't have the information of our forefathers that did this without thinking about it. And technology has taken place of a lot of things that we would do with our hands, with our minds, with our senses of, that could work. Yeah. Anyway, I'm divulging and I'm getting lost in my brain because my brain's a little bit, with everything that's happened in my life, a little bit glitchy, I'd say, at the moment. So you are right now, after going through this alchemic process, and alchemy is turning lead to gold, which means however you were before, you are now becoming more authentically you, but a better you. Okay, so now you're ready to show who you are, okay? And like I said, it can be in the platform of your family, friends, work. It can be anywhere, but it can also be in a bigger way as well. It's like, be brave, step out there, do something that you always thought you might want to do, and give it a go. It's like we talked about going somewhere and wearing different clothes and maybe a wig and just talking, being the person you kind of felt like you could be inside. That's what we talked about last month. So yeah, this month, and lost the drift, so I will look at the card instead. Okay. Oh, says that June is you are being woken up, okay? A lot of the experiences that you've had over the last few months in particular, and the last 3 years since COVID, has been because there is a new vibe to the world. There's a new world of doing things differently. It's not necessarily going to be overnight, but if you look around, you can see those changes. This says, so this card is the Judgment card. It is the Karma card. It is the card where the universe works for you. So you are you now in a lot of ways. Be brave to be this new you that you are. You are being called to live your purpose in a more purposeful way. And if you don't know what your purpose is, you can always come and see someone like me. And so my phone number is 027 416 6545. Yes, it is. Had to check that with myself. So the Judgment card means that there is another aspect at play in your life. So I call that God. I call that the universe. You can call it thin air. You can call it something, anything you want. You can call it magic. You can call it whatever you like. But very much in June, you have life happening with you, working with you, and with your wishes, your dreams and your desires. So what do you want to do? What are you here to do? If you don't know, you've already been doing some of it, all right? You don't need to come and see someone like me. It just helps shortcut things. But look back at your life, at what you have been doing, what you have enjoyed doing, but what job were you led into? What job did you end up getting? It might not have been what you wanted. What did you study that you weren't originally going to study? These are all things that were part of your path. You needed to learn these things, you needed to understand these things because they were part of a bigger picture in your life, something more that you were going to do. June, you've got a lot of help, a lot of things will flow synchronistically in your life as long as you go with it. When we argue, fight, and when I say argue, it's like, oh, that can't happen. No, I can't do that. I'm busy. I have to do this for somebody else, or, you know, I can't just go with it right now. I would just say to you, it's an opportunity to go with it, because the guarantee is, if you go with it, every single thing will work out for every other person in every other way automatically. If you don't go with the flow, it won't work well. It won't be how you wanted it to be, and it could also have ramifications afterwards. So, you have a unknown aspect of help and energy in your life for June. So that's support, that's encouragement, that's, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? It's a time to reevaluate and look at your life, what you've got, what you're doing in your life. What have the signs been? Have you been watching the signs? Have things been flowing easily, or have there been a roadblock? And if there's been roadblocks, it's because it says turn here, you know? Roadblock, turn. Go through one roadblock, there's another roadblock. It's like, just stop a minute. What is it you are being shown? What is it you are being told? What is it that you're not looking at? What are you missing? What are you not seeing? Even if you just pause for a moment, that's all you need to do. Also for June, it says you have come through a lot. It says you are strong. It says you're stronger than you think. It says that you are capable of handling like anything at all now. It is a lovely card. I'll show it to you again. It is a lovely card that says you have the strength, you have the courage. Just be brave. Everything is manageable. Everything and every challenge can be overcome. And you have extra help to overcome challenges, because that's part of your purpose. You are being woken up. It's like, it's time now. This is the time. No more waiting. Time now. Just start. Just do. The next card that we have for June is the star. So the star is about your hopes, your goals, your dreams for the future. But this is telling you that all of the things that you have thought about, and we've had these over the last year or so, everything that you've put in place as a plan that you have been working toward is achievable. It is achievable. It says it will happen as long as you continue down the same road, doing the same things that you're doing now. It says keep hold of your dreams because and your goals, because they're realistic. So if you feel like they're not realistic, it just tells you they are, and they are not out of your reach. They are completely within your grasp. So already for June, we've got So you see, this decisiveness we talked about before, this around decisions and making decisions, it just says that for some of you, it may seem impossible for you to make a decision. And I actually feel you're just doubting your decision. The decision was made already. You're just doubting your decision. If you doubt your decision, that's okay. Decide by the 3rd week of June that, decision or not, you are going to activate something in your life, that you're going to do something in your life. And if you do, you will find that it will flow. It'll click into place. You know, I said about the destiny, the purpose. So this is destiny as well. So it's your life purpose, but it's your destiny. And that all of the factors that help you in your life purpose will be coming together. So your indecisiveness isn't really a problem. You could just decide not to think. That could work. If you just don't think and you just go do something. I find for myself, I'm doing things I hadn't thought to do, and I've thought to do something and then I haven't been doing that at all. So it's more instinctive, it's more intuitive. It's always good. It always works. And yeah, if you choose to stop thinking too hard about decisions, that actually for this month will work really, really well. So the next card that we have for June, and like I said, these all fell out all on their own while I was trying to put all the cards together. So they didn't want me picking them this month. The next card that we have after the star, which is the future and your goals, is the Empress. And the Empress is, oh, how wonderful. The Empress is abundance. The Empress is, you are at your creative best in June. You are able to, your mistakes even will be creative. So it's just really about doing things, isn't it? Your mistakes will be creative and productive and successful. The abundance card of the Empress promises that you are in this state of grace where you are a magnet and you are attracting to you the things that you need. So this is money, this is abundance of all kinds. It says, again, you know, we said about the exercise for last month was, you know, dress up, go somewhere else and be the person you want to be with a whole group of strangers who don't know you. This month is dress your best, look your best, get some new clothes, get a new hairstyle, do something different with yourself. Wear clothes you haven't worn before, a different style of clothes even, or shoes that are very close to who you picture yourself as. So, yeah, like putting makeup on, I don't know, just showing everybody how fabulous that you look, and then being your fabulous self, the best part of who you are. This is the month to show off. And in my day, that was not a good thing. You didn't show off. But guess what? You have to celebrate you. And this is like you celebrating you. It is drawing attention. You will be noticed. You will be paid compliments. You will be given things this month. You will be valued. It is a month where if you value yourself, other people will automatically value you. If you show people the best side of yourself, you will get that in bucket loads back from other people as well. You have a lot to give. You have a lot to offer. You are more than you think. You are more than you have ever been in your life. Now is the time to try it out. And it says you will feel more confident. It says you'll be motivated anyway to do this. And yeah, it's just, what else? I'm just going to have another little look at this card. I don't quite know why, but I'm just going to have a little look at this card. Okay, so there's an invitation here for you to have a little look at your sun sign, which is your star sign. That is the month you were born. Are you a Pisces, Leo, Gemini? What star sign are you? If you don't know, then just ask somebody or Google it, what your birthday is, and it'll say exactly what you are, what star sign you are. You have other aspects to yourself, so you can't just read your star sign. You have a moon and you have an ascendant at the moment that you were born that also influence your personality and your character. And whatever moon you are, wherever the moon was, you can find this out, Google's great, free astrology, wherever your moon was, that is your strong part of your personality, okay? It's kind of like natural to you to be your moon characters, personality. Say if you were a Pisces moon, you would actually be very intuitive, very instinctive. Even if your sun sign was not, you would feel at home with following your intuition, for instance. So invitation is, this month also, is to look up your sun sign, but also to learn about it and learn about your personality and characteristics that go along with that, and not to be worried by them or anything else. We all have the good and the not so good in us. We need both because we must be balanced, and that's balance. So our choice is, of course, to use them for the positive. That's the main thing. So just look it up. You could look even on YouTube for your sun sign and see what's happening and what's going on for you this month. It can give more clarity than what I'm giving to you right now. So the last card that we have here is wonderful. It's good news, people. I'm going to show it to you. It's the Temptation card in reverse. I would say, and it's titled The Devil, okay? So temptations, addictions, old patterns and habits that kind of aren't really working for us are the ones that kind of hold us back in life. Good news. Good news. Of all the cards that came out, this one came out reverse, which means you have and are able in June to release old patterns and old habits. Right, so part one, we talked about the fact that you're letting go of old habits, that you've even maybe succeeded at that, or you're doing it in a different way where it's not harming you anymore. And it's like coffee, okay? So maybe you had 10 coffees a day, and now you're down to 3 coffees a day type of thing. It is the month of June. That is the best month to do it. Now, we're just radio again at the moment because camera's gone. And I wanted to talk in this last session a little bit about facing our fears. And there's been a lot of fearful events that have happened and uncomfortable things. It's just when they're uncomfortable, when we doubt ourselves, they're fears. If you're doubting yourself, you're afraid of something that might happen, or what if you do it and something else happens, or you just don't know if you can do it, or whatever. So facing your fears is one of those things that confronts everybody, and it confronts everybody at different times. And sometimes you may have to face more than one fear at the same time, which I would say to you is a great sort of distraction. It's a great kind of a leveling aspect where if you've got a lot of fears that you are facing, it means that not one will overcome you. They might all together collectively overcome you, but you have the ability to separate them out so that it's not overwhelming. And if you separate it out because you have other things that you're afraid of as well, it doesn't quite seem as big or as bad as if it was the only fear you were facing. And let's face it, we've got a mind that will play dialogues in our mind about, what we're afraid of and why we're afraid, or just being absolutely in a state of fear. And, fear we can have around, I could remember it before I went to high school, that I had a lot of fears and insecurities around going to high school. It was like the big place. I mean, I'd been to intermediate, but that just didn't seem to be a problem after primary school. High school was a really big fear for me, and I'm just realising now that when I went to high school, I did actually experience seizures, which would have been a result of stress, worry, anxiety, fear, and everything else. And well, it's the growing up world, isn't it? It's when you're also starting to grow up, and once you leave high school, you were out in the world. In my day, you were out in the world straight after high school, and that's a job, that's responsibility, that's then the next step to, meeting someone and getting married. I mean, you go ahead in your mind like that when you're afraid of something. And when you go ahead in your mind like that, you become more afraid, you actually grow the fear. So if you are afraid, it's a good idea if you can write down, okay, I am afraid because of this, 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 and this, okay? Then you can look at the first thing you wrote down. Okay, I'm afraid of not being able to do it. And look at that and go, well, what have you done in your life already? What have you done that is similar? Have you felt that way before when you were about to do something? And there will be a yes to that. So how did that go? You were afraid beforehand, maybe even while you were doing it. You did it. You achieved it. So that fear about this situation coming up can be ticked off. It's okay. So that one's okay. You've dealt with that kind of feeling before. You've dealt with that doubt about whether you could do it before. So that one can be ticked off. And then you look at the next thing that you could be afraid of. How will people view you if you fail? Or I might fail. And then you look back in your life again, and when in your life previously have you been afraid that you would fail? How did that turn out? And or did you fail, and how did that turn out? And if you look at that, and then you look at your fear, then you can tick that one off too. Firstly, because you survived it. Firstly, because you became stronger through it. You learned things through that experience. If you go down your list of fears and you do that and relate back to situations and times that were and have already been in your life that were like that, if you see how it tracked, how you got through it, then you will not have that as a relevant fear. It's not a relevant fear. And you can tick it off, and ticking it off just simply means I've been there, I've done that, it worked out okay. And if you go down all of your lists of fears, by the time you get to the end, you will feel different. You might still be worried and fearful, but maybe to a less degree. Or maybe you won't be so much fearful as wondering or anticipating would be the best one. Fear is there to help you think about it, to help you resolve the things that you are facing, and to figure out a way that you could make it easier for yourself. So we have many stages to our life, and each one of those is scary because we don't know about it. And there are stages all the way up to that last stage that we go through, which is the end of our life in our body. And it is not the end. It is the beginning of a new life, a new experience, and a new existence. The fear is of what we leave behind. The fear is of not actually knowing what is ahead of us. The fear is not knowing the transition that from here to there, and how that will be and what that will take. Fear is something that if you look at other people's experiences, other people's viewpoints, other people's perceptions of what they're facing, and I'm talking about end of life here because that's the biggest one. And if you're very advanced in years, then that will be something of a thought that comes to you, and you may be completely looking forward to it, absolutely looking forward to it, but also perhaps fearing it as well, simply because it's the how do I get from here to there scenario. It is also something that you could experience this fear periodically, leading up for years beforehand. And if you can look at what your fear is made of, if you can look at what you have succeeded at in the past, if you can look at the fact that at every time in your life when you have been afraid, it is because you are afraid of the unknown, that can give you a little bit of comfort that this is just yet one more thing that you are about to embark on that is new, that is different, that is unknown. It is no worse than, it is slightly different to, but it's the same as well. All those other fear experiences that you've had in your life. It is natural. It is part of our process, our progress. It is okay to feel fear. It is okay to feel fear. It gives you the opportunity to look into fear, to look at exactly what the fear is. Is it legitimate to how you are feeling and experiencing it. It is okay to be afraid. It is also okay to want to know more about what it is you're afraid of and find ways of managing it or giving yourself a different viewpoint on it, a different perception to help yourself create a different feeling to lessen the fear and detract from it and not add to it. And I've said this before, when you're going through anything, it's not just the fear. There's often grief and loss and sadness all mixed in with it. But when you have that experience, it is wise and it is helpful to avoid looking ahead. It is better to stay here right now, in this moment. Fill this moment with something pleasant. You have the ability to look into your fear and your grief. If that is too much and too overwhelming, it is wise and helpful to simply look at something else for the now. It is, if you are going through grief and there is a lot of sorting out and tidying up to be done, just do what in this moment you can deal with. If you cannot face it at all, then simply don't. It will happen in its own time. Do not pressure yourself. If you are dealing with things that have memories attached to them and your grief is too strong and the memories add to that grief, simply move away from it. Distract yourself with something familiar. Do something that's a routine. And it can be a day, it can be days, it can be a couple of weeks. In your mind, all you have to know is that one day I will sort that. Which thing would be the easiest for me to sort? Okay, when I feel up to it, I will deal with that one thing, and only that. Until then, I'm going to give myself a little bit of space to breathe, a little bit of time to rest, to not think, to look at something else. And that is powerful because it means you will absolutely get things sorted. If other people are pressuring you or if time is pressuring you, ask other people to help you if there's a time pressure. It may not be the way that you want it, but by other people sorting things out for you, it means that when you come to look at it in a different way at a different time, it will be in unfamiliar surroundings. It's not set out the way it was. The memories won't be there as strongly. It won't be as difficult to do. Now, I am Gail, and I do life coaching of a psychic, intuitive, personal, life, spiritual nature, and all those three areas. It is, I do tarot, and I do readings. I do life coaching sessions that help you navigate through a particular problem or problems. I can help you with finding out by tuning in to a situation about why things happened the way that they happened. So you can get a lot of answers to a lot of questions that are still hanging. Why did that happen? And why did it happen that way or at that time? There are answers, and there are answers that can be given. It is not from me personally. It is from a channel of information that I had with God and the universe from the time I was very young. If you would like to come and see me at any time, you are very welcome. My phone number is 027 4166 545, and we have been in June with Radio Kidnappers. Have a wonderful day.
This program was produced by and first broadcast on Radio Hawke's Bay, your community access media station. Thanks to New Zealand On Air for making this type of programming possible.